Hey everyone, so yesterday I moved into FSU and I wanted to have a little conversation about what that whole experience was like during COVID. Sorry, I'm really hungry. Today is my first full day here. And I'll be talking about what it's like to move in with all the COVID stuff and what's different, and just what it's like to move in college in general. But I'm gonna get dressed first, so I'll be back soon. Alright, it's been a couple hours. I spent probably 4 hours organizing and cleaning things in my room again today. But my name is Jonah Harmon. If you haven't been on this channel before, I like to do music on this channel and things like that. And then a lot of things that are college related, like this video. So if you like things like this, subscribe. Alright, now I'll start talking about everything. So, the most difficult part of this whole process throughout the summer and everything was I had no idea if I was going to be able to move in at all. FSU closed all their in-person stuff in March, and I received basically no information over the entirety of the summer, which makes sense because it's very unpredictable. I couldn't even sign up for a day to move in until 2 weeks before today. But luckily I found out in July that I was going to be able to move in, and that was really exciting. And if anyone watching this has actually been to FSU, I'm living in Landis right now. And actually moving in was very interesting this year. So the second I got here, I had to go take a COVID test. And even that was different than I expected. Because I know with COVID tests, they can test your blood. Or what I've heard and what my friend did a few weeks ago was they would take a nose swab of each nostril, leave it in there for 15 seconds each, and then send it off to a lab. He got his results within 45 minutes, which I was astounded by. But what I had to do was I went into this, it was like a gym, but I don't think it was, and they had X's, and I had to do my own COVID test. So I took the swab, put it in my nose. I didn't have to push it all the way back to my throat. I just had to put it far enough to where this cotton swab at the end was in my nostril. And then I had to push my nostril down and then twist it 15 times. Funny story, I asked the guy while I was doing this if a lot of people sneezed because it was tickling my nose a lot, and he was like, oh yeah, people will sneeze and they'll cry. And I understood the crying part because you're I guess tickling your tear duct or something, so it makes you tear up. And then I sneezed. And I went, oh, there you go. But yeah, I finished that and I had to put it in this plastic bag with a biohazard symbol on it. I figured I wasn't going to be allowed to move in until after I got results back, but that's not true. I'm actually still waiting on my results, but I am very, very careful, so I'm really hoping for a negative. But I guess that's something else I should address. So at FSU this year, they have Rogers Hall blocked off, which is a set of 80 dorms, I think. So if anyone actually tests positive for COVID, then they get sent there, and they have to quarantine for 10 days or until they test negative. Let's say one of my friends got a positive result on their COVID test, then I would be noted as exposed to COVID. I would have to quarantine in my own dorm, given that I test negative. So once I finished my COVID test, I drove over to the dorm, and it was me, my girlfriend Noelle, my best friend Tyler, and my mom, but my mom was driving separately. We were only allowed to have one person park in front of Landis, and I was only allowed 2 helpers at a time, and we had 1 hour time slot. We got there 20 minutes early, and we had to park somewhere else and then come back right at 10:55 because my time slot was between 11 a.m. to noon. And also one person had to stay with the car the whole time. It was very rushed, and by the time we got to 11:55 or something, they were like, hey, are you almost done? We have to make space for the next people that are coming in, so it was very strict. Also, obviously, face masks were required everywhere. Everywhere on campus this year, you have to wear a face mask except for in your dorm. This is one of the rare occasions where I am not gonna have a thing blocking my face. Once we got that out of the way, my mom and I paid for parking in a spot pretty close to Landis. She stayed in there in her car because she wasn't allowed in. My girlfriend and best friend came in and were helping me organize and clean everything. We disinfected basically the air at this point. Organized a ton of my stuff. It was really fun, but also really stressful. It's a lot. I don't know how much was set aside in years past, but this year move-in time is a 10-day period. I moved August 13th, today's the 14th. Classes don't start until August 24th. And I had to move in here early so that it was before my girlfriend moved in so she could come help me move. My roommate doesn't move in until August 22nd, so I have 9 entire days to figure everything out. And on top of all that, nobody knows exactly if we're gonna be allowed to stay here the whole semester. A lot of people are nervous that we're gonna get sent home early, and a lot of people are nervous there's gonna be a breakout of cases. Hopefully people stick to the rules and everything should be under control, but I have low expectations. In this semester, in-person classes will actually end by Thanksgiving. So I'll be home late November. I will finish my first semester online. I think the last day is like December 5th, something like that. So yeah, we're already planning on getting sent home early, but only by like a few weeks. We're hoping we don't get sent home early months before. And if we do, FSU has already said that they're not offering any refunds, which is very different from what happened last semester when everyone got sent home in March. For someone like me who can barely afford living here and had to work throughout the entire pandemic, that's scary, not knowing if I can get my money back. And also yesterday I was looking for food and I didn't want to drive because I live 5.5 hours away from here. So I decided to walk around the campus, get a nice little like view of everything and like figure out where the food was, except most of the places are closed. I don't know how much food is gonna be on campus this semester and like which restaurants will open and which dining halls will be open. But I did get the chance to go into one of the dining halls. If you've been to FSU before, I went to Swanee. I don't know if they call it Swanee Dining Hall or whatever, but Swanee. And when I went on a tour of FSU back in January, which one of my friends took me to, they had all the food laid out and the students would just come up and get their food. I don't know if it was like that at every dining hall, but at least the one that I went to was like that. This semester, when I went in there, I was one of the only people in there because not many people have moved in yet. Some guy gave me like a 10-minute rundown of everything and like their vegan options and for allergies and how everything works, and it was really long. But you're not allowed to like just grab your food anymore. You have to take it from the people working there, which is fine, but it's probably just gonna make it take a little longer. And I'm not on like a huge unlimited meal plan because I couldn't afford that. So I have 200 meals the whole semester, which will cover basically lunch and dinner every time that I'm here, a tiny bit more. That's until school starts. So for the next 11 days before school starts, I gotta figure out all my meals by myself. And I'm a little stacked up, but I'm gonna have to go to the grocery store again at some point. And along with that, I'll give you a piece of advice. When you move in, you're going to want a lot of time to organize your stuff, especially if you're moving in this semester. Disinfect everything, clean everything. So bring a lot of food, canned food. My dorm came with a fridge, which is really nice. You're actually not even allowed to bring your own fridge. So I was able to bring like milk and like salad, and we put it in a cooler on the way here. But double check if your college will have communal microwaves or anything like that, or if you'll have to buy it on your own. And if you're lucky enough to be able to afford a microwave, or you do have a communal microwave, then you can get a lot more options for food. But yeah, basically I've been inside all day today because I'm still trying to figure everything out in my dorm and barely anyone's here, and it's weird trying to make friends while socially distancing. So very strange experience. I'm allowed to have guests that are FSU students in my room, things like that. I'm not allowed to have anybody stay the night at all. Guests are only allowed between 12 p.m. and 12 a.m. I think is what it is. But there are absolutely no guests allowed from off campus at all in your dorms, in like the halls. As far as I know, they're allowed to like walk around on campus with you outside, but they're not allowed to come inside the dorms, which is just a good way to regulate all the cases and everything. I'm really hoping there's not a lot. So yeah, in summary, moving in was very stressful for a lot of reasons because of all the strict regulations and being nervous about catching anything in the first place. I have like a ton of masks in my drawer and like a digital thermometer and like vitamin C supplements and stuff like that. So it's just like college packing this year is gonna be pretty interesting. But the things that stay the same, it sucks saying goodbye to people that you love and people that you've like been with for years. I honestly wasn't expecting to cry. Been excited for this my whole life, but I definitely did, and it's really depressing when they first leave. I live like 5.5 hours away, which is far, but not far enough to not visit. So I'll be back. And for me at least, about an hour or two after they left, I started to get a feel for it, and it was exciting again and not sad. Might be different for everyone, but that's just how I felt. I have only one class in person. All the rest of my classes are online, which I'm fine with. The sucky part of that is one of my classes needed a lot of like online equipment, I don't know what you call it. So my tuition actually went up for having to have online classes, which is again really frustrating for someone like me who can barely afford being here. So overall, I would not recommend moving to college in 2020 over any other years, but I didn't really have a choice. But I'm gonna be making a lot more videos like this throughout the year. I'm not gonna be able to do much around here anyways. I'm gonna do a room tour, what it's like to be class of 2020 and things like that. And I'm also going to be doing, of course, a lot more singing, guitar, piano, stuff like that, depending on what kind of resources are available here. So again, if you liked this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you'd like to see here, and I'll see you in my next video.